Some legends are told, some turn to dust or to gold, but you will remember me for centuries.
Tip-off goes Oklahoma's way. Isaiah Cousins will bring the ball up here for the Sooners, guarding him, Barry Brown. Kansas State will play a man defense here to start off the game. Now goes to Woodard. Woodard inside to Buddy Hill. Hill dishes it inside to Latin. Kicks it back to Hill. Over in the corner, Isaiah Cousins, wing three. Nothing there, rebounded by Corby Irvin.
And something interesting, it is Wesley Wandu man-to-man defense against Buddy Hill in that first defensive possession.
Top of the key to Johnson. Johnson swings it to Irvin. The near side wing. Irvin down deep in the point to DJ Johnson, and DJ got a little too happy there. The refs will call him with the travel. That's Kansas State's first turnover of the game. The Wildcats had 24 against the Kansas Jayhawks, led to 30 points off turnovers for the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah, maybe that should have been one of my keys to the game too. Limit turnovers, something they got to watch out for.
The Sooners bring it up. They go to Buddy Hill. Wesley Wandu will shadow him. In the corner to Spangler. Spangler will drive baseline. Tries to go up, and it's nothing there, and Spangler does get it back. Goes up with his right hand and lays it in. Second chance point there for Spangler, and he's the first point on the board in this game.
Yeah, that's something they can't do. DJ Johnson was a little bit lazy. They were talking about him coming off the bench. Now he's in the starting lineup. You got to bring that effort from the get-go.
Looks like Oklahoma will play a 3-2. Lob goes to a Wandu. Tries to get it up, and DJ Johnson comes back down with it. Gets it to a Wandu. Back to Johnson. Johnson falls down. They're going to call Johnson for another travel there. It'll be Kansas State's second turnover. The basketball will go back to Oklahoma, and the Wildcats had a great chance there, but the turnover there on DJ Johnson, his second one of the night.
Well, that's disappointing. I know they got the crowd behind them. They want to go for the spectacular, but trying for the alley-oop maybe isn't as advisable as it seems. And then DJ Johnson, I've been there. You get a little bit too happy, and you go up to jump, and you just lose your footing.
18:40 left here in the first half. Oklahoma by 2 on the right-handed layup by Ryan Spangler. Now to Cousins. Cousins top the key to Woodard. Woodard will kick it back to Cousins, near side wing. Now Spangler, top of the key, thought about the three. Goes to Buddy Hill here in the near side wing. 10 on the shot clock. Hill will drive. Kick it to Spangler. Now back to Hill. Hill gets a 1-2 up in the air, drives up into the paint, kicks it back. Cousins, three, near side wing, drains it. Isaiah Cousins with the near side wing three puts Oklahoma up 5-0 here. 18-12 left in the first half.
Yeah, Isaiah Cousins shooting 46% from three-point range, third best on the team, which is insane.
Corby Irvin tried to go up, gets it stolen away there by Woodard. Oklahoma in the run, now kicks it to Cousins. Top of the key to Spangler. Now back to Spangler. Spangler goes up with his right hand. He's going to be fouled there by DJ Johnson. First foul of the game on either side comes at the 7:55 mark on DJ Johnson. Going to the line for Oklahoma will be number 10, Jordan Woodard.
And that's got to be frustrating for Coach Weber because, 2 minutes in, it kind of looked like they were going to let him play. Both sides were getting away with some some pushing and some fouling. But then they call that foul, which is a little soft in my eyes. It's just get a bit tough for the Cats to swallow.
And just like that, DJ Johnson heads to the bench after a slow start for the Wildcats. Checking in for him, number 32, the freshman, Dean Wade. First free throw by Woodard off the left side of the rim. For Ryan Spangler. Second one from Spangler, up and good. Oklahoma up 6-0. Kansas State trying to fight back. Irvin will bring it past the timeline, guarded by Woodard. 17:48, Oklahoma 6, Kansas State nothing. Dean Wade to drive baseline. There's a hand check foul there on Oklahoma's number 12, Kadeem Latin. That'll be his first personal foul. First team foul for Oklahoma at the 17:44 mark.
Yeah, just talking about the fouls again. Over the first 2 minutes, we saw no fouls and some pretty aggressive play, but now two real touch fouls off the bat.
Kansas State will inbound, go to Brown. Top of the key to a Wandu. A Wandu works top of the key, goes far side wing to Irvin. Irvin gets a screen from Hurt, kicks it back to Hurt. 18 on the shot clock, and Hurt throws it out of bounds. It's going to go a backcourt violation. Another turnover there from Kansas State, and so far not a good start for this Bruce Weber coached basketball team.
It's just a frustrating turnover because it's just so mindless. They could have taken the extra half second to look where he was passing and not just throw it as Corby was trying to make a cut.
Spangler inbounds to Isaiah Cousins. 17:25 left here in the first half. Oklahoma 6, Kansas State nothing. Now to Spangler, near side wing to Buddy Hill. Handoff goes back to Spangler. They kick it cross court to Cousins. Cousins top of the key to Woodard. Now to Hill. Hill drives up in the paint, tries to get it to Cousins. He does. Kicks it back to Hild. Hild near side wing 3. You betcha. Buddy Hild nails it. Oklahoma now up 9-0 with 17:05 left here in the first half.
Great passing from Oklahoma. I liked what I saw there. They just threw it around the court effortlessly. Wildcats just a half step slow right now.
Kansas State down 9-0, 16:55. Herp, top of the key jumper, air balls it, rebounded there by Isaiah Cousins. Cousins will bring it up, go to Woodard. Woodard thought about the 3, swings it to Spangler in the near side. They find Latin in low. Latin throws it up, nothing there, rebounded by Dean Wade.
Wildcats out-rebounded KU. They're going to need to do something similar here tonight.
Wonder tries to get up in the paint, and they're going to say it's off of Oklahoma. Out of bounds. The basketball will stay with Kansas State. 16:34 left here in the first half. Checking in for the Wildcats, number 14, Justin Edwards. Checking out, number 1, Corby Irvin. Also checking in for Stephen Hurt is number 4, DJ Johnson. So far, Kansas State, no points on the board here. 16:34 left in the first half. A Wandu will inbound for K-State. He goes to Johnson. Handoff from Wade, goes to Wandu on the near side wing. Now to Johnson. Johnson works the near side wing. Swing pass goes to Barry Brown. Brown drives up in the paint, throws it up right-handed. Jumper good. Barry Brown gets the Kansas State Wildcats on the board. 16-18 now. 9-2 Oklahoma has the lead.
That's one thing I like out of Barry Brown. He can create his own shot. K-State doesn't have a ton of those guys.
Now to Buddy Hield, guarded by a Wandu. He'll get the screen from Latin. Drives up in the paint. Now kicks it to Cousins. Cousins near side wing 3. Can't get it to hit. Rebounded by Dean Wade. Wade thought about running. Kansas State will slow down the offense with 15:58 left here in the first half. Now Brown tries to drive baseline. Knocked out of bounds, and it's going to be Kansas State basketball as it went off the hands of Isaiah Cousins, but he stepped out of bounds. We are at the under 16-minute timeout here in Bramlage Coliseum. It's Oklahoma 9, Kansas State 2. We'll take a timeout, be right back. You're listening to Big 12 basketball right here on 91.9 KSDB FM.
The following is a production of Learfield Sports.
And gone, a home run! This is the lob for Justin to the flush.
Welcome to another edition of K-State Game Day, Toyton Family Stadium. It's Big 12 baseball action. Tanner Barth alongside me, All-American Craig Wilson, former Major League Baseball player. And Craig, Kansas State, they have got a tough matchup today and a tough matchup all weekend long, but they got it started at Omaha on Wednesday. Great performance by K-State. Came out, got a 10-2 win. The bats really came alive for the Cats. How important was it for Kansas State to get that offense going, because they're going to have to face a pitching staff that's one of the best in the country?
They got a tough task tonight. Anytime you can get some momentum going into a tough game like this, it's only going to help. So they did a good job the other night and got the win.
Absolutely, and we were talking about Kansas State against Omaha. I mean, it comes down to those extra base hits and situational hitting. And we talk about this Kansas State lineup. It comes down to two-out hitting, and that really showed against Omaha. The Cats were able to get two-out hitting, and how about that? We were talking about it before this. The Wildcats score a play earlier in the week where it was a squeeze, and they scored 2 runs, a run from second. Plays like that, how does that work for Kansas State, that they're able to get that down, execute it somehow, and able to make the game that much closer?
Well, that's what they're going to have to do tonight against a tough pitching staff. They're going to have to manufacture runs. I'm going to allude to it a little later in the segment about my keys to victory. But the guys at the top of the lineup, they're going to have to set the table for those guys and try to manufacture some runs some way or somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're looking at the game summary here, Kansas State the offense wasn't there earlier in the game, but it came in the 8th inning, 6 runs for the Wildcats. That kind of put them ahead of Omaha, put the Wildcats in command. They were able to add another one in the 9th to come away with a 10-2 victory. Pretty solid performance from Mark Biesma out on the mound for Kansas State. But when you're talking about this Kansas State lineup, we said the bats got going, Craig. You've got to talk about the senior Max Brown. He is locked in right now for Kansas State, and how critical is it that he continues this and able to bat behind a player like Shane Conlon, who tends to get on base. You get that top of the lineup, and you get a player like Max Brown, who's hot right now for Kansas State, to drive in those runs.
Oh, it's huge for him. He was one of my favorite players to watch last year. He's got all kinds of talent. He's got a nice swing. He drives the ball to the opposite field really well. So he was a guy that K-State really needed to get going, especially with this Big 12 stretch, and hopefully he can have a big game tonight.
And when you're talking about Max Brown, as you said, able to drive the ball to the opposite field as good as any other Kansas State player has the ability to do, but one of the things that really stick out to him is his two-out hitting. It's fantastic for Kansas State. They were talking in throughout the season, he has 16 total RBIs, and he has 12 with 2 outs. That's just impressive if you're a player like Max Browning, one of your seniors who's come able to get that clutch hit for you in those moments that Kansas State may need here tonight against TCU and the rest of the weekend.
His hitting with runners on base has been phenomenal. So hopefully he continues that. His approach is basically what's helping him get those 2 out RBIs. Being aggressive, getting a good pitch to hit, and using all parts of the field.
And when you look at it, he's batting .352 his last 16 games, and when you 7 extra base hits, that's like you said, is just his ability to drive that ball in the gap. And he's a quick kid, real long, lengthy kid, and so I think that just continues to add to Kansas State's repertoire when it comes to the hitting, is his ability to stretch those singles into doubles and doubles into triples and get runners in scoring position for the later on of this Kansas State lineup.
He is a little deceiving. He's got a big frame, and he does run well, though, so that's going to help him get some extra base hits. Some balls down the line that maybe don't go all the way to the wall. He's going to be able to really kind of take advantage and get that extra base.
Yeah, and as we said, Kansas State's offense been up and down all season long, but you continue to see a consistent performance from the Kansas State pitching staff, whether that's the starting rotation or the bullpen. What do you like so far about Kansas State's pitching rotation and staff throughout this the early part of this season, starting to get into the middle later part of this season?
For the most part, they're keeping us in the game. That's all you can really ask about a pitching staff, unless you have a guy like theirs that is just going to go, 0.99 ERA. But you really just want to keep them in the game, let your guys get some hits, and see if we could manufacture some runs.
And when you look at the team ERA, for Kansas State, right now throughout the aluminum bat era since 1977, this year 3.98 ERA for Kansas State, and that ranks 3rd. I mean, you would think that's a little bit high for TCU standards. That may be a little bit high, but for Kansas State right now, that's 3rd since 1977. So you like to see that production out of your Kansas State rotation, and especially those guys in the middle stretch that in the bullpen that gives you those 5, 6, 7, 8 innings.
They do, yeah, and especially with this, with the era of them changing the ball and having a little bit more juice, that's it's kind of a testament to what they've been doing this year.
And when you're talking about Kansas State and you're talking about the stretch of the Big 12 always tough in every sport. In baseball, it's no different this year. You've got teams at the top of the schedule or top of the standings. TCU, you've got Oklahoma State in there. But this is the first of 7 home games for Kansas State tonight. Tough opponents coming in for the Wildcats. You look at it; they host number 3 TCU this weekend, bringing Wichita State, Texas Tech, and then at Nebraska and at Baylor. Tough stretch there for the Wildcats. But how many does K-State need to win out of that 7, Craig? Do you think that kind of keeps them in the hunt and keeps them in that middle pack of the Big 12 and not let them fall down to that 9 spot?
Well, anytime you're at home, you want to win at least a little bit, a couple more than half the games. So a good number would be 4 games to win. That's a tough schedule. And just all they want to do is get out to a good start here tonight, start that process, and just kind of keep battling and see how many you can pull out.
Yeah, and when you're talking about this TCU team, ultimately in the Big 12, for you to be successful, you got to protect your home field. The Wildcats will try and do that this weekend against the number 3 ranked TCU Horned Frogs. We're going to take a break here on K-State Game Day. When we come back, we'll talk about the Wildcats strength coach for the baseball program. A cold day throughout the Midwest, but that did not stop the Royals from having the hot bats in Kansas City. The rain wasn't helping any Royals fans yesterday. A postponed meeting with the Rays pushed to today, meeting back-to-back baseball, the day-night doubleheader. We'll start with Game 2 and work backwards. Alex Gordon was a monster today, finding open space all over the field. This one in the 5th inning to give Kansas City on the board, but it was a 6th inning double that broke it open with 2 outs. Alcides Escobar is the man. He clears the bags. That puts the Royals on top 4-1. Damage kept coming from the Royals bats. Alex Gordon once again able to find space, drops it right over the shortstop's head. The Royals will go on to win 7-1. Insanely productive day for Gordon, 7 for 9 in the 2 games. He drove in 6 runs and homered in Game 1, but it wasn't his long ball that stole the show. Wow, wow, wow. Game 1 ended on that walk-off grand slam from Paulo Orlando, just called up yesterday from AAA Omaha and already a hero. A 9-5 win for the Royals. Wingnuts playing a doubleheader with Laredo tonight. They won Game 1 5-1, so going for their 2nd win on the day. Bases loaded here in the top of the 3rd inning. TJ Metalstat singles to take a 1-0 lead. Scary moment here shortly after Laredo's Scott Garner collapses to the ground, clutching his elbow in pain after throwing a pitch.
Looks like Tommy John might be on the horizon for the Laredo pitcher. The Wingnuts win 7-1 for Game 2 sweep today. Game 3 tomorrow at 7:05. Ron Baker and Fred VanVleet will compete for 2 of the 12 spots on Team USA's roster for the Pan Am Games in Toronto. Starting tomorrow, even though the first practice was today, Baker and VanVleet's flight did not arrive in Colorado Springs until 6 o'clock this evening. Former Shocker assistant Tad Boyle, now the head coach for the CU Buffaloes, says cutting the team from 22 to 12 will be tough.
A lot of responsibility that comes with it. So, this is serious business, representing your country, especially when you're playing basketball and you've got USA on your chest. It means a lot.
Are expected next week when camp moves to Chicago. Team USA will play its first game against Venezuela on July 21st. In case you missed it at 6, Luke Barnwell is the new head man at Sunrise Christian. As he takes over for Greg Marshall's new assistant with the Shockers, that's Kyle Lindstedt. How he's approaching the transition and how confident he is in the school's future, that's on Cake.com right now. Thanks for joining me for sports tonight on Cakeland TV. Have a good night, Wichita.